Good evening. Maybe I should speak a little louder. Good evening. I'm Barbara Murray. I'm part of the Barnes family. I'm on the board of directors. I am also a retired music teacher from Fairfax County Schools. And this production, whenever I worked with Peter and the Wolf, it was just so dear to my heart. And I imagine many of you in the audience remember your music teacher coming up with Peter and the Wolf sometime in your past. It's a wonderful fantasy story that it just talks about bravery and battling good against evil, and it's an enjoyment for all. So you're here at our wonderful event center, the Barns of Rose Hill. It's a place where magic happens. We have many concerts, and we hope many of you have been here. Do we have any first-timers here tonight? Hey, keep looking at our website because we have some fantastic things coming up that I'll tell you about in a moment. But first, I wanted to tell you that we have our conductor this evening from Shenandoah University, Garrick Zoeter, and he's compiled all these wonderful musicians. They are some students, some alumni, some professional, and from all over the area, even as far as Washington, D.C., correct? Now the mic's working. There you go. And we have our own John Hudson, who's our wonderful singer, drama, and he just does it all for everybody here in the area of Berryville. So John Hudson, thank you for being our narrator tonight. There could be no other. It's one of a kind. And then we have a grant that made this possible. Once upon a time, it took 3 years for this to come to be. Diane Kincannon, please stand up, Diana, had an idea. And she wanted to encourage classical musical here at the Barns, and she said, let's do Peter and the Wolf. So she and I got together and wrote a grant, and we thank that Marion Park Lewis Foundation accepted our grant and has donated funding for this evening's performance, as well as our own Beethoven Society, which encourages the classical music here at the Barns. But we have all types of music. I'll tell you about some. We have Seth Walker coming up next weekend. He's a singer-songwriter, blues Americana. We have the Plate Scrapers, which is on 1127 with bluegrass and barbecue. Very popular in the area. Charlie Brown. Charlie Brown is coming to town on 12/4. It's a free event. And we put our big screen down. We show this timeless feature video. And then the Eric Bird Trio comes out from Washington, D.C. and plays the soundtrack. They bring their children. They are the best. They are just a wonderful jazz trio. It's a free event, but we do need reservations for that event on December 4th. Great, great event. And then on 12/18, we have Caleb Nye Trio, and they're coming to play holiday music for us. It's a jazz concert. It is a free event, but you do need reservations. We do need to have that people count these days, and we encourage you to come back and see us. We have also some kids' crafts coming up in December. If you check our website, as always, you can come in on certain Saturdays, and we will have tables set up and activities for the kids. And we thank you for doing the pencil puppets tonight, because if you hear your music and you're Peter, you can make your little pencil puppet move. But we do have some prizes coming up here, because as a teacher, this is what I kind of did with the kids when I was back teaching school. We thank you for your attendance, and we encourage you to come back. Our success is due to you coming to our performances, encouraging live music here in Berryville, and we want to keep it going. It's been 10 years, 10-year celebration this year, and it's quite a feat for this small community to have such a center as this with all types of music, live music here. So thank you very much. I'm going to turn it over to our esteemed conductor, and he'll tell you what's coming up. Thank you.
All righty. All right. So the composer of this piece is named Sergei Prokofiev. He was Russian, and at the beginning of the piece, he actually has the narrator introduce the different instruments and the different characters that they represent in the piece. But we thought before we did that we would actually introduce the instruments themselves, because we have a lot of young people here tonight that maybe are unfamiliar with some of these instruments that they see up here. Yeah. So we will start by introducing the members of what we call the string section, which is our section right here in the front. Can anybody have an idea why they're called strings instruments? Yeah. Exactly. Yes, because you got it. Excellent. That's right. Exactly. Because they use strings, as you can see, and they kind of go from the smallest instrument to the largest instrument right back here, right? So the first instrument we're going to show you are the ones right here. Does anybody already know what instrument this is? Violin, of course. See, you already know this already. All right, let's hear a little bit of the violin. Excellent. And you're setting the bar high here. All right. Excellent. All right. So the next largest instrument up in the string family we find right here in the middle of the orchestra. Can anybody tell us what this instrument is? Wait, I think I heard it. Who said that? Yeah. Viola. Exactly. Yes, this is the viola. So the viola has a kind of a little bit of a lower sound than the violin does. So let's take a listen to that. Here we go. Awesome. Thank you. All right, so that's the viola. And next up over here, we have a much, much, much bigger instrument. Who can tell us what this one is? That's, everybody knows the cello. Easy. All right. How about this? What's he holding in his hand? How do they make music, these string players? What do they use there? It's a bow, exactly. See, they know all this already. And we're not surprising them. All right. So here's a little bit of cello without the bow. All right. Cool. All right, and then over here, I'm going to go over here so we can all see Donovan here with a very, very large stringed instrument. What do we call? What? Say it again. The bass. That's exactly right. Excellent, excellent. Now this one's really low, so let's take a listen. We recognize that tune, yeah. All right, excellent. All right, so those are our string players for tonight's concert. Next, we're going to go to a group of instruments called the woodwinds. And Elena, why don't you show us your instrument? Who knows what that one is? Flute, exactly. Now, the wind instruments, what we call woodwind instruments, how do they make sound? Do they use a bow? No. So what do they do? You blow into it, exactly. So we have 4 instruments here. Actually, we have many more than 4 instruments that you blow into, but we have 4 woodwind instruments that you blow into here. So let's hear the flute. Excellent. All right. All right, so the next instrument we have is played by Mathwin, who's sitting right next to Elena. And who knows what that instrument is? Oboe, exactly. Now, the oboe and the two instruments after the oboe, they use a very particular tool in order to make sounds on their instruments, something that the flute does not have, but that the oboe has. And that might be very vague what I said, but if you understood that, does anybody know how the oboe produces the sound other than the air? There's something attached, yeah, that. A reed, exactly, exactly. Excellent, excellent. You know what? The funny thing is oboe players can actually play just the reed. Let's hear that. You can already see where Prokofiev got the idea for the duck, right? Right. All right, so let's hear the oboe. All right, excellent. Of course, next we have my favorite instrument, because I've been playing that instrument for a long time. And who knows what that is? The clarinet, exactly. And that's another reed instrument, right? Let's hear the clarinet. Excellent. Mozart. All right. Great. All right, next we have a much bigger instrument, but it also uses a reed. Actually uses two reeds. What's this one? The bassoon. Yes, that's right. This is the bassoon. And Ryan is now going to play a little bit. Actually, are you going to play the reed too, or no? That's a little bit lower. All right, so that's the bassoon reed. Now we will hear the bassoon. Excellent. Okay, so now we have a section of instruments over here which are very shiny and quite loud, or can be quite loud. And this is what, does anybody know this family of instruments, what we call this family of instruments? Brass, exactly, that's right. So this is the brass family. And we're going to start with Kaylee, and she's going to show you, oh, she's going to play the, see, this is becoming a trend here. All right, we play reeds and we play mouthpieces. Now we're going to play the mouthpiece. So you can make sounds without the whole instrument. It's amazing. All right, so now we're going to hear this instrument, which is the, what's that instrument? Trumpet, exactly. That's the trumpet. All right, let's hear it. Awesome. All right. So, next to her, we have a much bigger brass instrument. Who can tell us what this one is? Trombone, that's right. And it has a very long part there that Matt moves back and forth. Anybody know what that's called? The slide, exactly. And that creates a very unique sound. So let's hear what that sounds like. Yeah, we know that one. We know that one. Awesome. Everybody recognizes that tune, yep? Excellent. All right, so behind the trumpet and the trombone, we have three very, 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 very important instruments for this piece we're going to play tonight. Who knows what that instrument is? French horn. That is indeed the French horn. Excellent. Excellent. So let's hear the French horn. I don't know if the French horn can play its mouthpiece by itself. It probably can, but, well, let's hear it. Why not? There you go. Awesome. All right. So let's hear a little bit of how the French horn sounds. All right, there we go. So that's the French horn. So that leaves us with two more players left, and they're in the back here, but they have many instruments in front of them, right? So does anybody know what we call this section in the back with all of these instruments here? The percussion, exactly. And that's a lot of instruments. So we have Jack, who's playing what we call these big drums here. Does anybody know what we call these really big drums in front of him? Who knows what that is? Timpani. Exactly. You got it. You got it. So let's take a listen to the timpani. Yeah. All right. Excellent. Excellent. And then we have a couple little instruments next to him. We have what we call the cymbal. You can maybe play that a little bit, just to hear what that sounds like. Yep. There we go. What else do we have there? Oh, we got another way to play it. Ah, with the brush. Yeah, it's a different sound, no? Nice. Okay, and then we have one more set of instruments on the corner here. Oh, wait, actually, Jack has a. Wait a minute. Let's not say what that is. What's that? Tambourine. Yes, it's a tambourine. Exactly. Let's hear that one. Yeah, nice. All right. And then over here in the back corner, we have two more instruments, it looks like. We have a very little, well, it's a drum, I guess. Does anybody know specifically what, if you can see this little drum that he's playing there, does anybody know what that's called? It's kind of, yes, the snare drum, exactly. You hear that in a lot of march music. Yeah, let's hear that. Excellent. All right. And hold on, Jack's got something else to show us. What do we have here? Oh, we have something else. Well, this is the trick one, right? So there's a little tiny instrument there. Now, it's really hard to figure this one out, but what's this one called? There you go. Let's hear it. All right. Excellent. All right. All right, so we have one more instrument that's in this piece, and it's this really big one in the corner. What do we call that one? Bass. Drum. Exactly, the bass drum. Let's hear that one. It's pretty powerful. Okay, there it is. Sounds like thunder. Yeah. All right. So, what you notice when you hear an orchestra, or when you hear this, the different combination of these instruments, is you hear a piece of music, right? And this piece of music is made up of different sounds, right? And those sounds are produced by the instruments you see here, right? And in the end, they produce kind of what we call colors, right? And not only do they produce colors, but they also produce characters. And in this piece, this is what's going on tonight, right? So each section of the orchestra, or each instrument in the orchestra represents a specific character, right? A specific animal, or perhaps a specific person. And Prokofiev puts in the introduction to his score a little introduction, a little bit of each theme on each instrument, so you can sort of pick out exactly which instrument is which character. So John's going to come on now, and we are now going to demonstrate for you the different sections of the different characters in the piece you're about to hear, Peter and the Wolf. All right? All right, so here we go.
Well, good evening, boys and girls.
I think we're going to tune first.
We're going to tune first. All right. Good evening, boys and girls, and ladies and gentlemen. You've all had a great introduction to the orchestra. Now we're going to assign certain instruments to the characters in tonight's music. And I'll give you an example. We're going to start with one that represents one of the characters in Peter and the Wolf. It's the bird. Now, you might have in your mind what a bird might sound like musically, but let's hear it played on the flute. Did that sound like a bird to you? Yes, it sure did, didn't it? All right, now we're going to introduce another character in the program. It's the duck. And we have assigned an instrument to play the duck. And let's see if that sounds like a duck to you. It's going to be played on the oboe. That was almost a swan, but that was our duck. Now, a lot of you might have cats at home, and a cat is part of this story. So we have created the sound and the image of the cat by the clarinet. We also have a character in Peter and the Wolf, and he is the grandfather. And we are going to represent the grandfather with the bassoon. And now, of course, in the title of this is one of the animals that we are going to feature with some of our instruments tonight, and it is the wolf. And the wolf is represented by 3 French horns. And now our main character, what is his name? Peter. He's represented with this orchestra by a string quartet. And last but not least, we have rifle shots. And they are represented by the kettle drum and the big drum. That represents all of the characters in tonight's program. So are we ready to hear the story of Peter and the Wolf? Yes. All right. Let's begin. Early one morning, Peter opened the gate and went out into the big green meadow. On a branch of a big tree sat a little bird, Peter's friend. "All is quiet," chirped the bird gaily. Just then, a duck came waddling around. She was glad that Peter had not closed the gate and decided to take a nice swim in the deep pond in the meadow. Seeing the duck, the little bird flew down upon the grass, settled next to her, and shrugged her shoulders. "What kind of a bird are you if you can't fly?" said he. To this the duck replied, "What kind of a bird are you if you can't swim?" and dove into the pond. They argued and argued, the duck swimming in the pond, the little bird hopping along the shore. Suddenly, something caught Peter's attention. He noticed a cat crawling through the grass. The cat thought, "The bird is busy arguing. I'll just grab her." Suddenly, she crept towards him on her velvet paws. Look out, shouted Peter, and the bird immediately flew up into the tree. While the duck quacked angrily at the cat. From the middle of the pond. The cat walked around the tree and thought, is it worth climbing up so high? By the time I get there, the bird will have flown away. Grandfather came out. He was angry because Peter had gone into the meadow. It is a dangerous place. If a wolf should come out of the forest, then what would you do? Peter paid no attention to his grandfather's words. Boys like him are not afraid of wolves. Grandfather took Peter by the hand, locked the gate, and led him home. No sooner had Peter gone than a big gray wolf came out of the forest. In a twinkling, the cat climbed up the tree. The duck quacked, and in her excitement jumped out of the pond. But no matter how hard the duck tried to run, she couldn't escape the wolf. He was getting nearer, nearer, catching up with her. And then he got her, and with one gulp, swallowed her. And now this is how things stood. The cat was sitting on one branch. The bird on another. Not too close to the cat. And the wolf walked round and round the tree, looking at them with greedy eyes. In the meantime, Peter, without the slightest fear, stood behind the closed gate, watching all that was going on. He ran home, got a strong rope, and climbed up the high stone wall. One of the branches of the tree, round which the wolf was walking, stretched out over the wall. Grabbing hold of the branch, Peter lightly climbed over to the tree. Peter said to the bird, "Fly down and circle round the wolf's head. Only take care that he doesn't catch you." The bird almost touched the wolf's head with his wings, while the wolf snapped angrily at him from this side and that. How the bird did worry the wolf. How he wanted to catch him. But the bird was cleverer, and the wolf simply couldn't do anything about it. Meanwhile, Peter made a lasso, and carefully letting it down, caught the wolf by the tail and pulled with all his might. Feeling himself caught, the wolf began to jump wildly, trying to get loose. But Peter tied the other end of the rope to the tree. And the wolf's jumping only made the rope round his tail tighter. Just then, the hunters came out of the woods. Following the wolf's trail and shooting as they went. But Peter, sitting in the tree, said, "Don't shoot! Birdie and I have caught the wolf. Now help us take him to the zoo." Imagine the triumphant procession. Peter at the head, after him, the hunters leading the wolf. And winding up the procession, Grandfather and the cat. Grandfather tossed his head discontentedly. Well, and if Peter hadn't caught the wolf, what then? Above them flew Birdie, chirping merrily. My, what brave fellows we are! Peter and I, look what we have caught! And if one would listen very carefully, he could hear the duck quacking inside the wolf, because the wolf, in his hurry, had swallowed her alive.